Muskogee.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Way out there where the sun comes up under the big red sky, I do life the way I love, with family by my side. I feel home with me, no matter where I go.
Proud of where we're from, excited for where we're going. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines.
Now boarding.
Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. It has not been a boring weekend. Quite entertaining. We got the College Football National Championship game tonight. NFL playoff games this weekend. The Bills fired their coach one play away from the AFC Championship game. Was it an interception or was it a catch, Jake? I want to know. I want to know.
Looked like a catch. Looked like he was down to me.
Richard Sherman, a DB, came out and said, when in the history of the NFL, I'm paraphrasing, has that ever been an interception? And then you see, what is it, once or twice after that? The same exact thing happens, reception both times. I'm not a Bills fan. I would prefer to be right because I said the Bills and Rams are going to end up in the Super Bowl. So I would have liked to have been right, but that's really my only motivation other than it just didn't seem like the right call to me. Matt Rhule had some strong words, interesting takes. Couple thoughts on Eckler, the running back room, not bringing in a running back, confident in the guys in the room. Reaction, Jake?
Definitely interesting. They said that, there's only enough money to go around, right? And said they like the guys on the roster. They had some other spots to hit there. It's at least, it's good to get some closure on it. We're not sitting here, well, why isn't this guy going, why aren't they targeted? It's like, okay, he comes out and tells you they like what they've got in the room. And I think more often than not, if you've got a good offensive line, you can get some pretty good production out of the running game. Obviously, we saw with Emmett Johnson, he can break some tackles that can help out quite a bit. Nelson's got some home run speed. So, I think there's definitely some potential there. And then with Calandria at quarterback, that's going to open up some things. So, yeah, it's one way of doing it. Obviously, some other coaches might go a separate route. They like what they've got in the room. So we've got to like it too, right?
We've got to like it too. The quote of the day right there. We've got to like it too. Interesting point. The offensive line blocks better. Bigger holes? Running backs instantly become better? Anthony Calandria becomes a threat with his feet? Make an interesting point. Because Emmett, and we all knew Dylan wasn't going to run. I mean, this isn't some sort of shot at him. He wasn't going to run. But there was no threat of running at the quarterback spot. It was, we're going to turn around, hand the ball off to the running back, and the guy with the ball, the running back's going to have to make plays, going to have to make people miss. Now, the offensive line was better at run blocking last year than pass blocking. So if you were going to say, hey, what was the strength of the O-line? Obviously, there were some things that needed to be improved upon. But the strength of the O-line, now how strong that strength was, we can debate that, was run blocking. Emmett Johnson, obviously a great running back, best running back in the Big Ten, one of the best in the country, should have been a Doak Walker Award finalist. I will never let that go. Sue in the Heisman, Johnson in the Doak Walker. I'm just saying, never going to let it go. I don't forget things. Jake knows that. I don't forget things, do I?
I like that because you're not even arguing he should have won the trophy. You're just like, he should have been a finalist.
Well, he wasn't a finalist. He should have been a finalist. Look at the stats. Look what he did for his team. And Jeremiah Love and the other guys, great players. Why wasn't he there? All right, I'm sorry. I'm not, but we're going to move on anyways. But when you've got a threat at a quarterback, whether it's Calandria, whether it's Latif, still got to win the job, in my opinion. It makes it harder to defend the running back because now you got to count for the quarterback. And now it's 11 on 11 when it comes to defending the run versus 11 on 10. And 11 on 10 has worked. There's plenty of quarterbacks who didn't run well that had plenty of success, but you got to threaten teams vertically downfield, which we weren't able to do last year either. So I wonder if that helps. And I wonder if it's a running back by committee. Mekhi Nelson, Quentin Ives, Isaiah Mosey, Connor Booth, other guys. They got lots of guys. There's only one running back on the field at a time. We got lots of guys to earn that job. Plenty of talent, plenty of potential, nothing proven. Going to be interesting to see. But if the O-line's blocking better and the defense has to play 11 on 11 when it comes to stopping the run because you're factoring in the quarterback's feet too, it's interesting. Do you think money played a role, though? Because they spent, reportedly, at least $25 million on this roster. And I know, like a couple of years ago, Rhule made statements. How can a $5 million, I'm paraphrasing, how can a $5 million roster compete realistically with a $20 million roster? And he was talking about Nebraska versus Ohio State when he said that a couple of years ago. Well, now a $20 to $25 million roster, it's not the same as it was 2 years ago. So I wonder if when Rhule said, we're not short money, he's like, 25 million, got that mark. But now the mark has moved. Now the mark is, do you think money played a factor at all with the running backs here? Even though, because he said multiple times, a year ago, I want to bring in another running back. I want to bring another guy with Emmett. Didn't happen. Talked to Charmar Brown. Not going to happen. Not going to bring anybody in. Do you think money was a factor here? Is it purely we like the guys we've got because we've got a bunch of them. They're young, unproven. Somebody's got to step up, or maybe there's a running back duo, running back trio. Maybe Isaiah's, I'm just spitballing here, the starter. Mekhi's your third down back, although, you know, Isaiah was a wide receiver, so him catching the ball. Can he pick up the blitz? I don't know. Then you got Eyes for short yardage. What about Booth? He's a bulldozer. What do you think of this, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I do think money factored in. Again, you got these other places that you're addressing, and so it was like, okay, well, you know, eventually you don't have unlimited money, even if you got $25 million, even if you got $40 million. At some point, you know, your goal is to spend it all, is to get there. And so, you know, it didn't quite get to where.
Did you say your goal is to spend it all? Is
well,
that what
I would hope so. I mean, if you want a $25 million roster,
go ahead.
Don't stop at $21 million.
Sorry, go ahead.
But so, you know, I do think that factored in. I also think it's interesting as we kind of digest this information is that I think a big reason why people think that they needed a running back was trying to read the staff and their confidence in these running backs, right? Is that, you know, and it's just so funny, this story, how it's been going is Emmett Johnson needs more carries. That's what everybody's screaming at the top of their lungs. Then Emmett Johnson gets all the carries. And we go, well, Emmett Johnson could use a little help. So it's kind of funny how we critique everything no matter which way you're kind of going. But I guess that's why I thought that they needed running back help, is because it didn't look like they felt comfortable with the running backs they had behind Emmett. But apparently they did. They just still liked Emmett that much better, you know, just in understandably. But maybe you could keep him a little more fresh, that sort of thing, going through it. But I think that's the biggest reason why I thought they needed a running back, is because I thought that they weren't comfortable with their running back room, but they are.
I know as of last spring, they wanted one more running back to pair with Emmett. said right to my face on the turf inside Memorial Stadium from someone who would know. No one would know better. It obviously didn't come to fruition. You get a little bit, I don't want to say lucky. Like, we knew Emmett was a good back. You get a little bit lucky that he carried the load that he carried and he stayed healthy. You can't always bank on that. But now, you got a plethora of guys. You got guys with different skill sets. Maybe different guys for different situations. I will tell you as a defensive player, two things you look for. Now, as a D lineman, I don't look at tight ends a lot, linebackers. Like, if there's a certain, like, if you've got a tight end kind of rotation and certain guys come in for certain plays, hey, 47's in, watch screen. Hey, 58's in. He couldn't catch, super glue if I hit him in the face. They're running the ball, stuff like that. Like, you can kind of figure things out. It's the same thing with running backs. You can kind of, all right, 24's in. This is what they tend to do. It's kind of like I talked about at one point in time. Like, if a running back's at 5 yards in front of the quarterback, they're not handing him the ball. He's there to block. Probably a pass. Unless it's a running quarterback, maybe it's some sort of quarterback run play, but they're probably going to pass. If he's at 7 yards, they're putting him back there so he can get some momentum to get downfield and run the ball. If he's next to the quarterback, it's a little bit more unpredictable. But even in shotgun, if he's right next to him, probably not a handoff. If he's 1 by 1 yard off, probably more likely for a handoff. It's harder to gauge in shotgun. Unless the running back's clearly in front of the quarterback, clearly behind. Doesn't have to be clearly when they're in, let's say, the pistol or under center. Shotgun, it can be a little bit more challenging. Have you ever noticed that sometimes they'll have running backs change sides in the backfield right before the snap of the ball?
Mm-hmm.
You ever wonder why that is?
I assume for its blitz pickup.
It's part of that. It's flipping the strength of the defense. So a lot of times strength of the defense goes based off of tight end. It'll go off, where the wide receivers are at, if there's trio, trips. But a lot of times it's the side the running back's on. Like, if you got two tights, or you got 2 by 2 wide receivers, there's other examples of this. It's the side of the running back. So if you flip it last second, you're flipping the entire strength of the defense right before you snap the ball, which can change. A lot of times, like field south, it was easy. We'd always blitz from the field. It wasn't rocket science. But if you had a strong side blitz, and then all of a sudden the back switches, that can change coverage. That can change who's got who. That can change who's got the pill blitz. Now, you can't flip the entire blitz, but now where you're blitzing might be different. You got to adjust it as they're snapping the ball. All of a sudden, coverage is different. So they'll flip the back right before the snap to try to mess up the defense and the strength of the defense and the call you may or may not have. So essentially what Rhule said, I'm paraphrasing. Do you have the quote in front of you?
Yeah, let me get to it.
Essentially, he said, we like the guys we have. We're going to roll with the guys we have. We're not bringing in any other portal running backs. There's certainly a lot of upside in that room. There's certainly the ability to find a running back rotation. There's no lack of talent. As a coach, I would have thought you'd want at least one guy that's a little bit more proven. Maybe they saw some things in the bowl game. Mackay showed some great top-end burst speed in a game situation. You got Ives as a strong short yardage back. Isaiah Mosey is talented. He walks right into that room, and within a month, he's the number 2 back behind Emmett. You got other guys coming up who just redshirt. I mentioned Connor Booth. There's other guys. Maybe it's kind of like we've got so many guys, somebody's going to stand out. Maybe there's a money limitation. Maybe they truly just like what they've got in there. What is the exact quote?
There's no quote on this one. I can look on the other ones.
That's okay. Get the Eckler quotes because we'll chat about that next. I basically just paraphrased it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. We got Eckler. We're going to talk a lot of Nebraska basketball in segment 2. Segment 3, Indiana, Miami. And quick NFL playoff reactions as well. Before we get to that, just a reminder, the second annual Carriker Chronicles youth football camp is this summer. You can go to our website to learn more, simply carrikerchronicles.com if you're interested. K through 8th grade, July 8th this summer. Coach Osborne will be there, Brendan Stye, Terrell Farley, the ticket zone. The ticket will be on site. Love that, as always. All right. And Eric Crouch, Heisman Trophy winner, will be there as well. So if you're interested, you can learn more at the website. Let's give a shout out to the good partner of this program, Hamilton Telecommunications. They bring you the latest in quality technology and communication services since 1901. Learn more about their residential and business services at hamiltontel.com. That's hamiltontel.com. Is there anything off the text line about the running backs? Because It's obviously a wait and see. This is clearly a wait and see. How does this pan out approach? Just like the D-line. How's this going to pan out? How's this actually going to work?
We did have some thoughts off YouTube. Byron saying Ole Miss has the top running back and still brought in another one. He also said we didn't add enough firepower in the portal.
I like what we added a quarterback, Anthony Calandria, right? The high school quarterback. Tanner, who's got some feet. Man, we got 3 quarterbacks who can flat out run. TJ doesn't look to run a ton, but he can. Latif. Tanner absolutely can run. Quick decision making. Got the high school kid. Got to refine some of the techniques of quarterback footwork, things of that nature. He actually makes quick decisions. A lot of what he does is out on the edge, though. He's not used to being in the pocket a ton. He's got to work on that. Develop the in-pocket presence, awareness, and all that good stuff. Young guy coming out of high school. Plenty of talent. Excited to see what he can do. Love watching that kid run. TJ is going to be a year better. You look at Anthony Calandria. I would say, I feel like he brings more firepower than Dylan. I don't think he's more talented. I think he's willing to do more things than Dylan was willing to do at least the first 2 years. Maybe he would have been more aggressive next year. His mindset was not aggressive. It was a game manager, high completion percentage, which is phenomenal type mindset, but he still turned the ball over a fair amount. It was improved from his true freshman year, which you would hope, but there was no vertical threat. There was no threat on the ground. So I think that's a little bit more firepower. We'll see how the running back room pans out. At wide receiver, I don't know if this has been talked about a ton. Maybe it has. But I think our wide receiver room, and it needs to be, is going to be noticeably better than last year. I would expect Barney to be better. Year more development, another year in the weight room, year older, year more experience. Same thing with Isaiah Hunter. 2 of the fastest dudes in the Big Ten right there. Doesn't guarantee anything, but the possibility is there. And then you look at Quasi Gilmer. So Dane Key, good player, going to play on Sundays. I still say somebody drafts him. You know, he would have probably been about a second, third, fourth round pick had he gone out last year. You still think he gets drafted? He didn't quite have the season anybody would have wanted, including himself. You still think he gets drafted by somebody somewhere at some point?
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably back into the draft.
I would agree with that. He's still going to get drafted. He didn't have a great year. That actually speaks to his skill set. That he didn't have a great year. We still both believe he's going to get drafted somewhere. My point is, Quasi, I expect Ja'Cory's production to be improved. I expect Isaiah to be improved just due to being a year older, stronger, better, experienced. I would hope that would be the case. That's called development. I think Quasi Gilmer, who was UCLA's best receiver in multiple statistical categories and overall, I think he can exceed what Dane Key did, and I think we can have legit 3 different receiving options next year. So I think there's a little bit of firepower there. When you say we didn't bring in enough, we didn't bring in enough guarantee. Like you feel like, bam, we know this is what we're gonna get from this guy. Like maybe there's not enough of that, but I think there's enough of potential firepower depending on how it all comes together, and it's all going to start up front. How do we protect the quarterback? How big are those running lanes or not? That's going to help the running backs. Thoughts, or should we move on to Eckler chatter?
Well, I just real quick, I just think it's interesting that, when you lose to Minnesota and Iowa after year, it's not because of their firepower. So, again, it's kind of fun. It's funny because we kind of get cyclical here. I would probably spend all, especially down the stretch of the season. That's enough, enough skill position players. We got skill position. We need front lines. And then they don't bring in enough firepower right in the offseason. So would you want to ideally add a running back? Maybe. Would you do that at the expense of letting go one of those offensive linemen that we brought in? Maybe only bring 2 of them? Well, then you got a question there. I think you need more work up front.
That's an interesting proposition. Okay, let's say money was a limiting factor. We've been told that not really it is, but maybe it was. Would you choose between another running back or the offensive lineman? Offensive lineman all day. Yeah. For me. What about, because we've got Cortez Mills, Keelan Smith, we've got Janiran Bonner coming. We got other wide receivers in there. Would you, and Quasi Gilmore, I just talked about what I think he's capable of. But would you have brought in a running back or Quasi Gilmore if you had to choose? Let's say the money's equivalent. What would you have done, GM Jake? Bad News Bach and GM Jake. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, of course, whatever I say, Quasi. If I go against Quasi, he's going to be an all-time great here. So, but I mean, I probably identified running back a little bit higher, but I don't know within that room. Like you said, I like some of those young wide receivers they have, but this isn't just any wide receiver. He led UCLA in receiving. I mean, so you take the best wide receiver off another Big Ten school then you're asking, okay, what running back are you getting? Are you getting a guy that started 3 games? Or are you getting a guy that ran for 500 yards? So it really depends on who you can get. But I also want to point out, it's not like you could just choose. Like, you might look at, well, Will Hawthorne. I would rather have a running back than Will Hawthorne. Well, it's not going to be, everybody's not going to be the same price, right? So you can't just pick out and choose where you want to and then bring in a running back. Again, you could bring in a running back, but it might not elevate the room.
It's a fair point. I like the Will Hawthorne point. We don't know what they're making, but to your point, not every player is getting paid the same, so you can't just, exchange one for the other. All right. As far as the running back room, I don't doubt the potential. I don't doubt that they could piece things together. I don't doubt that things surrounding the running back position could by themselves make the running backs produce more, starting with the offensive line and having Iowa and Penn State, they had 15 players within 8 yards of the line of scrimmage. It's hard to run the ball. That math, right?
I think
15 to 20, 30.
Yeah, felt like it. Sure felt like it.
They were not threatened at all downfield. Threaten them vertically, threaten them with the quarterback's legs, open up the running lanes a little bit better, and all of a sudden, you got great running backs. All right. You got those Eckler quotes. Well, Rhule about Eckler quotes ready.
Yeah, if I can get my phone open.
It's interesting because, when Tony White left, Matt Rhule he didn't say a whole lot, but it was pretty kind things in general. Decent things, good things. I do remember there was a press conference December or January where he talked about we're going to run more NFL-style coverages. And I do know that was something that maybe was a point of contention the last season that White was here. And so I know Rhule felt good about that. And obviously our coverages and our secondary played very, very well as an overall whole this year. Eckler's still at the university. Do you have those quotes?
Matt Rhule said if he doesn't, he obviously has some decisions to make. If he doesn't want to be here, that is what it is.
You want guys who want to be in the foxhole with you, things like that. You got any other quotes?
No, I give you a look at them.
So, okay, I'll just go ahead and paraphrase. So some of the other things that were said, we played well. I'm paraphrasing. We played well early in the year on special teams. The last couple games of the season, maybe not so much. Wanted to play better on special teams than Iowa. That didn't happen. It needs to be about helping the team win, not so much a special teams unit or coach. Those words seem to be a little bit more pointed. Which, Eckler's technically still here. Hopefully he stays here. And he talked about how we have his blueprint, essentially. Paraphrasation again. But we've got what he did, how he implemented it. Eckler did a great job. Rhule pointed out he said nothing but great things throughout the season about him. If he's not here, he's got to, you want guys who want to be in the foxhole with you. He basically feels like we can proceed on. Again, this is how I interpreted it. Going forward, we've got his blueprint. And the way it came across to me was he didn't feel like the special teams would have a drop-off. Like they just keep playing really, really well, which I hope is right. Because our special teams was a difference maker this year. What are your thoughts on a little bit more pointed words? That's how it came across to me. What are your thoughts on, if Eckler's here, we're all excited, we're all jumping for joy. If for some reason he does go, after hearing what Rhule had to say last week, what are your thoughts on that going forward there, Jake?
Well, I think it's interesting. I mean, Matt Rhule over time has been very transparent with kind of thoughts and communication between coaches. And I don't think that's always great. I don't know if when you kind of hang out John Butler out to dry, I think for the vanilla game plan against Minnesota, while their offense scored 6 points. Again, I'm not sure if what was the conversation there with Holgorsen. I'd like to know that too. So it sometimes it's interesting where it's getting pointed at. And in this case, it feels like Eckler's gone the way that Matt Rhule's talking about it. So maybe he's jumping in front of the story, at least getting the side of the story that Nebraska offered the money, right? Wanted to keep him, all that sort of stuff. But it's just interesting. I mean, specifically comparing them against Iowa, saying that our goal was to be as good or, better than Iowa by the time that came around. Well, that's good. And that's a good goal, but to go from as bad as they were to as good as Iowa, who's wins like 3 or 4 games every year because like the best special teams, that's a lot to ask in 1 year. And I'll agree. I mean, it looked better earlier on than it did later. But still, the transformation was great. So it's just kind of interesting. I would probably, if I was him, and he's a great orator, a great speaker, I would have omitted a few of my thoughts there. But I think for the most part, I think it's a good job of jumping ahead of, okay, Mike Eckler leaves and we all scramble and don't understand why. He told us kind of what was going on there.
Remember after the Minnesota game when he basically said the staff as a whole wasn't ready for what we were going to see, and he tried to get them ready and they weren't ready?
Yeah.
To your point, and I'm jumping around a little bit here, to your point, and a coach has a right to call out whatever if he chooses to do so. He's the guy in charge. And sometimes you gotta shake the tree. And sometimes you got to shake it harder than others to get the apple to fall. Some trees, you shake them a little bit, apple falls quickly. Some, you got to shake the crap out of those trees. You got to borderline get the chainsaw out before the apple's going to fall. So I get it. I feel like it's interesting, to your point, pointing out certain things, maybe not other things that could be pointed out. Is there a reason for that? I don't want to call it cherry picking, but is there a reason for that? Does that go both ways? Because constructive criticism has got to go full circle. It's got to go both ways. It's got to be all encompassing. The honesty road has to be a two-way street. And for me, man, they were pointed words. I mean, you look at Eckler, he tends to bounce from school to school. He was at Tennessee for 4 years, but outside of that, his average time and duration at each school was under 2 years as an overall whole. So potentially being the top one or two paid special teams coordinators in the country, potentially wanting to coach position groups. It's an interesting dynamic. It's an interesting situation. I hope all parties can figure it out and work together. It just doesn't seem likely at this point. I do remember a couple of kicks that, specifically against Iowa, being kicked deep and we're trying to return them. I think Barney was the one who returned them. I think one time we had a fumble, so it's hard to come down hard on the special teams when we had one of the best special teams units in the Big Ten in the country, and by far the most vastly improved area on the team, when prior to him getting here, it was not that way. It was darn near the opposite. But at the same time, if somebody doesn't want to stay for whatever reason, then I understand exactly what Rhule's saying. Maybe there's some frustration there. He is a human being. Maybe that frustration is coming out. And I can get all of that. At the end of the day, people got to do what's best for them. It's crazy to me because I still have this thing. I don't know. Does the L word still exist? Does loyalty still exist?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. I look at the decisions that people have in front of them today, young players, young college football players, and I never had those types of decisions. When I chose to come back to play at Nebraska, I wasn't offered, what was it, $6.5 million that Miami offered Ty Simpson? And he still chose to go to the draft. I wasn't offered that. I was offered, here's a Lloyd's of London insurance policy. You'll get paid X amount if you end your career this next year, or you can go make a whole lot of money now. Listen, I don't do everything right, but to me, it meant so much to come back and wear the N on the helmet and to earn a black shirt and to play for Nebraska. My dad got a hold of Lloyd's of London. He got a hold of him. He figured out what the amount should be, and I knew the risks, and I came back. Again, that doesn't make me better or worse because times are so different. Maybe I would choose differently now. I just wonder if the word loyalty exists at all. Any thoughts on that? And I know we got to go to break. Anything off the text line before we go to break, Jake?
Well, I mean, again, it always is a two-way street. I know this is kind of going to a different sport here, but does loyalty exist for Sean McDermott or John Harbaugh or Mike Tomlin? It's interesting how it can kind of work both ways. And so you ask loyalty out of a guy or a kid, and sometimes that can eventually, the program can kind of turn on you or the team or whatever. Some of those cases after 18 years. And of course, we've seen that in college football too. So it's interesting. I would just say it's a two-way street sometimes.
I think it was Dave Remington that said this. And I talked about this. He had a whole social media post, kind of made the rounds, his frustration with the lack of loyalty, the transfer portal, how it's currently set up. He said the only people who are truly loyal are the fans. I read that, and I was like, a lot of truth to that. I think for me, you can feel that there's not going to be an offseason national championship this year for Nebraska. And I think that that's okay. I think there's a certain amount of frustration. There's a certain amount of impatience. And honestly, I get it all. I just hope I believe that the loyalty will stay from the fans, but I hope that the frustration doesn't become too much. I hope it doesn't turn into negativity. And this is a highly scrutinized program because there's such passion. I just hope the respect always stays, which I do believe it will. But when it comes to the fans, man, they've been so loyal for so long. Depending on when you want to start the clock, you can go back 10 years. Absolutely. You can start at 15 years ago. Whenever you want to start the clock of Nebraska hasn't quite given the return on investment to their fans that the fans have invested into Nebraska football. They have been so loyal for so long. It's like you look at the fan base, and that's the one thing that you've always been able to count on. And that's the one thing that I appreciate. And I hope that the fans, people like us who this is our passion, man. And we could talk about other things, we could do other things, but this is our passion. I hope that the play on the field, and I know the schedule next year factors into people in this non-off-season national championship and how tough it is. But I hope that the play on the field next year, the effort, the veracity, the way the team plays, I hope it looks a lot like Sam Hoiberg, like Nebraska basketball. Whether they win or lose, the way they play is phenomenal. And I hope that what is on the field next year starts to give the fans a little bit better return on the investment they've made into the program for so long. So we're going to go to break. When we come back, Jake, I bombarded you with clips this weekend. But we're going to talk about Nebraska basketball. We got 4 clips, why they're doing so well, why they're doing so good. Some people have them right now as a potential number 1 seed in the tournament. Is that crazy? Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
At DWE Generations, having a plan matters, especially when it comes to protecting what's most important. They work with individuals, families, and business owners to help make smart financial decisions that support life today and set the foundation for generations. David Darlington, Russell Walton, and Cody Eiler bring decades of experience, and their dedicated team provides follow-through, answering questions, explaining next steps, and staying connected as life evolves. DWE Generations, a generational wealth planning firm. DWE Generations is a marketing name for individuals doing business as representatives of Northwestern Mutual. Visit generations.nm.com or call 402-483-7871 and ask for David, Russell, or Cody.
Way out there where the sun comes up under the big red sky, I do life the way I love, with family by my side. I feel home with me, no matter where I go.
Proud of where we're from, excited for where we're going. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Tune in to Outside the Box from 4 to 5 p.m. for everything you need to know about the Lincoln Stars. Join head coach Rocky Russo and play-by-play voice Alex Fern as they sit down with special player guests to tell the story of the Lincoln Stars and give you all the news and notes you need from around the USHL. That's Outside the Box with the Lincoln Stars on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey guys, this is former UFC fighter and mixed martial artist Anthony Lionheart's. The Upside Bar and Lounge in South Lincoln is the go-to spot for every UFC event, prelims, and main card. There's never a cover, so make sure you get there early and stay late. Upside Bar and Lounge has daily specials, a margarita club, and a taco club. And don't forget, they just added Buzz Bowls to their menu. Learn more about upcoming events by visiting UpsideBarLNK.com and stop into their South Lincoln location for every UFC event on 27th and Pine Lake.
So as women, we're so hard on ourselves, and I just wanted a simple way to feel confident again and to feel like me again. And the Spectrum 7 at Max Tan gave me that little spark back and can also give it to you too. A full body light that makes my skin and my spirit feel brighter.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Way out there where the sun comes up under the big red sky, I do life the way I love, with family by my side. I feel home with me, no matter where I go.
Proud of where we're from, excited for where we're going. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit ostreetcarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. And wow, what a year it was at Koppel. The Koppel family would like to say thank you for a record-setting sales year in 2025. Now let's start 2026 off with a bang. New GMC Sierra pickups starting at $12,500 off list or 0% APR. Also hot off the presses, new Terrain leases at $299 per month. That's right, $299 per month on new GMC Terrain leases. So please stop on in the store or online at koppelcars.com. Stock numbers G138852 and G165184, 2,500 down with proof credit.
Electrical Enterprises in Roca reminds you the men and women of our military dedicate themselves to serving our country. Their commitment and courage keep our country safe and strong. Let us honor those who have lost their lives in the line of duty and salute those who serve today. This from Electrical Enterprises in Roca. For all of your residential and commercial electrical construction needs, call 402-438-5822. We live in the land of the free thanks to the brave. For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. As a former Husker and an NFL player, I'm a bit of a health nut. You should know the hydration and recovery, they do start at home. Make sure you team up with Culligan of Lincoln. Soft water means better showers, cleaner dishes, and protects your water heater and appliances. Their high-efficiency softener cuts salt and water usage. For drinking, make sure you add a Culligan reverse osmosis. It's like bottled quality water right at your tap. Great taste, and it's certified to reduce tough contaminants like lead and PFAs. Right now, get up to $300 off a whole home system or just $9.95 a month for your first 3 months. Schedule your free water test at CulliganHuskers.com. Again, that's CulliganHuskers.com. Culligan of Lincoln, water you love, go big red. Also, shout out to our good friends at Suizo Construction, where safety is not just a policy, it is a promise. Suizo is hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back both on and off the job site. Apply today at Suizo.com. 40 years strong in business. Suizo Construction. Again, that's SCHWISOW, Suizo.com. All right, the new poll is out. You just informed me Nebraska basketball. For 1 week in 1966, they were ranked number 8 in the country. We've been number 8. Now we are the highest ranking we've ever officially been with no ties. Number 7 in the country. Jake, are we ranked too low? You like how I set that up and then I came right down with it? Yeah, we ranked too low.
Well, I think we are. There's a bunch of teams that lost in front of us still. I don't know why we're not number 2. And heck, why not number 1?
Who's ahead of us?
Still ahead of Nebraska. Of course, number 1, Arizona, undefeated, as I mentioned. Everybody else with 1 loss would be UConn, Michigan, Purdue, Duke, and Houston. Pretty good programs.
Yeah, that's program recognition. That's brand recognition. It is what it is. We're going to have to fight an uphill battle. Indiana went 11-1 last year, played Notre Dame closer in their the playoff loss than they had. All the other games were actually worse blowouts, the first round of the playoff, but all anybody could talk about is Indiana shouldn't have been in the playoff. You've got to do extra if you haven't done it in the past if you want to earn the respect now. It just is what it is, fair or unfair. All right, by the way, Wednesday, playing in Washington. Saturday, we're going to go row the boat up in Minnesota. We could be 20-0 and we take – what's Michigan ranked? Were they ranked?
Michigan's number 3.
Oh, they moved up. They were 4 last week. We could be 20-0 and we take on number 3 Michigan. If we beat Michigan, I don't want to hear nada. We better be number 1 in the country across the board. I don't care if Arizona's undefeated and mollywhopping everybody. We better be number 1. What are your thoughts on all this? Next 2 games, trying to get to 20-0, then taking on the Wolverines.
Well, again, I think, Michigan is what kind of the destination everybody's kind of been looking forward to. and that's fair. But, once Michigan's done, lose or win, you've also got number 13 Illinois coming up next after that. Number 11 Illinois, excuse me. They moved up in the polls. Then you've got a game against Rutgers. Then you got a game against number 4 Purdue. So Michigan's kind of the start of a 4-game stretch there. We're going to play 3 top 11 teams. So we're going to find out. Nebraska, part of the argument might be their schedule compared to some of the other teams. That argument will go by the wayside. And I'll be interested to see if they do drop one, how much it does affect them in the polls.
First of all, we already beat Illinois on their home court. So just remind people of that. Epic comeback on that game. So what I hear is a lot of opportunities coming up in the near future. That's what I hear. So we got a couple of clips. We got 4. Why don't you start off with Northwestern's head coach and why he thinks Nebraska's been able to become such a good basketball team.
Congrats to Nebraska. Heck of a team, man. I told Fred before the game, I admire the way they play. Got a bunch of guys who are just a collection of their parts. I mean, it's really refreshing to watch. And the purity that they play, the joy they play with, the toughness they play with. And you saw firsthand today, it's why they're 18-0. And we're just not at that level. Thought we played pretty well for 20 minutes. And then in the second half, I thought they wore us down. And we just haven't been mentally tough enough to kind of fight through those situations, unfortunately, in our league games. And it's kind of been a common theme, and we're going to continue to work on it. And, but I thought that second half, when the game got away from us, their toughness and kind of togetherness and kind of resolve just was able to wear us down over time.
So it's kind of what I mentioned. It's how they play. It's the toughness. It's how they battle. It's how they fight, scratch, claw. They play great defense. It's not talked about enough. It's just not. I finally saw someone talking about it on ESPN. They're great defense that they play. If you're a lights out shooting team, that's fun to watch. That is tough to beat, but you can have a night off. You know what doesn't take a night off? Great defense. It's kind of like speed. Bobby Bowden said, either you have it, you're chasing it, and you can't coach it. It doesn't take a day off either. Defense travels. Obviously, they got great shooters. They're fun to watch on offense. That's Fred Hoiberg's expertise, is offensive X's and O's, but it's how they play. All right. I think Hoiberg has some thoughts on his own team here. Let's hear those.
And Price missed probably his 2 best looks of the night. And he just, when he gets loose in transition, our guys have done a great job of finding him. We've really stressed that to our team. When we're at the break, is do everything you can to locate where Price is, where Braden is, to our shooters, where Rink is, sometimes trailing the play when he hasn't going. And our guys have really bought into that. And again, that speaks to the unselfishness. I think the maturity of this team. It's an old group, and they've really bought into the whole team concept on both ends of the floor. And again, that makes our job as coaches a lot easier when you can hold them accountable. They don't take it personal. They don't, there's never been one time where they've talked back or hung their heads. And we're going to have to continue with that. We told them in the locker room, win the recovery day tomorrow. And, let's bounce back with 2 great days to prepare for a really unique team that's got a ton of talent in Washington.
You can coach them. They don't talk back. They don't take it personal. So when I sent this to you, I did not have Nebraska football in mind. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
At the risk of pissing a lot of people off. Like, seriously, what was Matt Rhule's? What did he say after the Minnesota game? He's sick and tired of what? The E word. Do you remember what he said? Entitlement.
Entitlement, yeah.
I understand there's a lot of pressure on Rhule. It's a highly scrutinized football program. The day the scrutinization goes away is the day the passion goes away. That's why when people get fired up about things I say, whether they like it, whether they don't, I mean, never make it personal. As long as you don't make it personal, I'm not going to get upset. I learned that a long time ago. When Facebook and X first started, my day would come and go based on what some random Yahoo said, 500 miles away, half a country away. I like to think I've matured a smidge since then. Not a lot, just a smidge. Like a smaller than a hair. I do. I feel like Rhule's getting defensive right now. And if you're worried about entitlement with your players, like, I meant to talk Nebraska basketball. How did I get into football with this? We need a mental toughness. We need a culture that is actual tough. We need an actual buy-in. We need to embrace accountability. No deflection. Grab the mirror, point it right at ourselves. If I have a crappy show, have I ever had a crappy show here?
I don't think so.
The number's too high to count?
Yeah.
There are days I walk out of here and I'll be like, that was a great show. There are days I'll walk out of here, I was like, man, I got to do better. Have I ever once looked at you and said, you got to do better? Once, ever?
I don't think so.
There's been days I've walked out of here and said both. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Have I? But it's always, I hold the mirror at myself first. I'm a flawed human being, got more holes than Swiss cheese, and I'm just trying to get better by having less holes in my Swiss cheese. Terrible analogy. Did it make sense at least?
I think so.
I think we need more of what Hoiberg just talked about, and he's talking about the basketball program in the other program I was just talking about. I did not mean to go down that rabbit hole. Let's stick to basketball. We got 2 more clips. Surprise me with whichever one you want to play.
Which of the 3 is the biggest surprise to this point, you think?
The biggest surprise, probably Nebraska, from my mind. They've won a number of games. In one-possession games, they won 6 or 7 of those. They've been very consistent, but they've surprised me the most in terms of being unbeaten at this point.
You know, I am not at a loss for words much, and I'm not at a loss for words now, but I can't believe what is happening right now at Pinnacle Bank Arena. This isn't just a team going undefeated to start the season. This is a historical season in Lincoln for a program that has never won an NCAA tournament game. We're a 3 seed in 91, but we're upset by Xavier. Who was the coach of that Xavier team, Robbie? Pete Gillen.
Our own Pete.
Did you know that about 91? Did I mention that earlier in this show? I meant to. I didn't know if I did yet. Did I mention that yet?
The upset?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did mention that.
Yeah.
I didn't bring that up to be a downer. I brought that up because I think most people forgot that we were that high of a seed at one point. I think this Nebraska basketball team is going to be ready regardless of how this season ends. And I expect they're going to lose, by the way. At some point, they're going to lose. Now, if they go undefeated, I'm happy to be wrong. Oh, my gosh, I'm happy to be wrong. But they're going to lose at some point. When you watch this team play, they play with the character and a toughness of a team that will bounce back, of a team that knows how to come back from gigantic second-half deficits like they did 16-point down on the road in Bloomington, Indiana, like a team that knows how to win close games, like a team that when they play Oregon and when they play Northwestern, they know how to pull away, and they know how to curb stomp a team they should curb stomp. Now, how good are they? We'll find out. I love watching them play because I love how they play, and they're learning how to win in different ways, and it's fun to watch. I do think we still really got to get that first tournament win. But what I'm saying is I think they're built as good or better than any Nebraska ball team has ever been built when it comes to in that one-game tournament. One game and you're out if you lose it. It's a lot of pressure. A lot of teams lose that are the better team. I think they're going to be as ready for that moment when that moment comes as any Nebraska basketball team has ever had. And I'm not trying to put the cart before the horse. Is the next clip where they talk about the number 1 seeds and whatever? Okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll that. That's what kind of brought this into my head. Go ahead.
I do want to point out, though, I do love Clark Kellogg, but he said 6 or 7 one-possession games. There's 4 of them. Stop your agenda there.
He said agenda. I love it. False narrative. Go ahead.
It's still worried about who they played on November 5th or whatever. A lot of people are refusing to buy into Nebraska's success because back in the early part of the regular season in the non-conference portion, they didn't play as challenging a schedule as some of the other heavyweight teams. And I say other heavyweights advisedly because they belong among them. I was shocked today. I didn't realize I have had them as a number 1 seed for about the last week and a half. I thought that everybody would. They got to 16-0, 15-0. The other undefeated started to go by the wayside. So I thought it was everybody. And so I looked today at the bracket matrix. There are 77 online brackets right now. And there are only 9 that have the Badgers as a number 1 seed. It's the Huskers. Excuse me, the Huskers, yes. Right. It's preposterous that they absolutely should be a number 1 seed at this point with the win over Illinois, at Illinois, with the win over Michigan State at home. That's 2 top 4 seed wins at this point. Only a few other teams, I think 3 other teams have 2 of them. And they're Arizona, UConn, teams that are established 1 seeds at this point in the season. I'm stunned at how much resistance there is in Nebraska, and I wonder if it's brand. And this whole brand thing, haven't we blown that up through the college football season with Indiana playing Monday night? You'd think, but it still comes down to Nebraska does not have a grand history in college basketball. These other teams that are in that mix all do. And so it's easy to set them aside, but I think they are an excellent basketball team. And right now, a deserving number one.
Well, I just literally said it was Brand, didn't I?
Yeah.
Did I already address this? Did he not listen to the show before he said this 3 days ago? It's Brand, and I'm fine with it. Honestly, if there's Duke. Okay, let's say Duke was 10-2, won the ACC. Would you take Duke as seriously in football as if they had the equivalent record in basketball?
No, it's hard to.
It is what it is. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm not saying I support it. I'm saying it is what it is, and I'm fine with them just going out and earning it. By the way, it would be a number 2 seed right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
So as women, we're so hard on ourselves, and I just wanted a simple way to feel confident again and to feel like me again. And the Spectrum 7 at Max Tan gave me that little spark back and can also give it to you too. A full body light that makes my skin and my spirit feel brighter.
Let's fly. Your next trip starts at Lincoln Airport with American Airlines. Now flying nonstop service to Dallas, Fort Worth, and Chicago. American Airlines connects Lincoln to major hubs and destinations around the globe. Wherever you're headed, LNK gets you there with new nonstop flights on American Airlines.
Now boarding.
Convenient, fast, and stress-free. Book your next flight at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Way out there where the sun comes up under the big red sky. I do life the way I love, with family by my side. I feel home with me, no matter where I go.
Proud of where we're from, excited for where we're going. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. And wow, what a year it was at Koppel. The Koppel family would like to say thank you for a record-setting sales year in 2025. Now let's start 2026 off with the bang. New GMC Sierra pickups starting at $12,500 off list or 0% APR. Also hot off the presses, new Terrain leases at $299 per month. That's right, $299 per month on new GMC Terrain leases. So please stop on in the store or online at koppelcars.com. Stock numbers G138852 and G165184, $2,500 down with proof credit.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 7th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to get stronger just around the corner, so you can give everything you've got. Whether you want to crush a few reps before class with our expanded strength equipment or sweat it out on your way home from work. With over 2,800 locations, there's a Planet Fitness close to you, and most are open 24 hours. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends January 30th. Are you coming? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
Electrical Enterprises in Roca reminds you the men and women of our military dedicate themselves to serving our country. Their commitment and courage keep our country safe and strong. Let us honor those who have lost their lives in the line of duty and salute those who serve today. This from Electrical Enterprises in Roca. For all of your residential and commercial electrical construction needs, call 402-438-5822. We live in the land of the free thanks to the brave.
A lot of people in the summertime think, gee, I want to build a new home. By the time they go through the process of sitting down, getting the permits, and getting the home started, the home isn't done until January or February.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, and they've built neighborhoods in and around Lincoln for over 25 years.
I think the best time to start designing your new home is the month of January, because get an early start on it. Sit down, the snow's flying, let's sit around the table, let's drop some plans, let's put numbers together, let's get a budget put together. and let's get that thing started so that the home's done in summer or fall before school starts. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done.
Make your dream a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your dream home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. All right, Jake has something quick off the text line. What you got, my man?
IQ Cure just has a thought from you from earlier in the show. He says, hey, Carriker, it was an interception for the Broncos. It's not ask the 7 or ask the 8. It's ask the 9 to think it's a catch. Go Broncos.
Oh, the Go Broncos! That gives you away, my man. That gives you away right there. I like it though. You know what? I like the comment. All right, the comment wasn't ask the 7, ask the 8. It was ask the 9, and I don't even mean that negatively. I just like I like the pull. I like the pull right there. All right, real quick shout out to our friends at Mulberry Barbecue. All right, fine partners, sponsors, and friends of this program. Check out Mulberry Barbecue with 2 locations. We actually had it Friday because Demo was on the show. He went and got it. Then we went and got it. Oh, it's so good. They're located at 11th and Cornhusker and 61st and Apples Way, right off of Highway 2. Both locations, because they have 2. We're open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Try their burn-in sandwich, a brisket burrito, barbecue nachos, full slab of ribs, half smoked chicken. Right about there, I get hungry every time. Every time, right about there. It's so good and much, much more. Plus, get incredible size, get fueled for lunch today, or make dinner plans at Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker and 61st and Apples Way, just right off of Highway 2. All right, man, NFL playoff reaction. So you got the Broncos, you got the Bills. Great game. Great game. Then we can argue about the calls at the end. I'm going to let that go. Frankly, there's not enough time because I'd like to whine for 3 hours. Actually, I don't want to whine. 5 turnovers. Bills had 5 turnovers. You know, Josh Allen hadn't thrown an interception in over a month. Then he ends up throwing 3. There was some fumbles in that game, 5 turnovers. I actually thought the Bills outplayed the Broncos. Like if turnovers aside, let's just ignore those. I thought they outplayed the Broncos. Did the Bills punt all day? It was either a score or a turnover, wasn't it? I don't remember them punting all day.
Yeah, no, I'm looking to see if I can.
I'm telling you, I don't remember one.
No Buffalo punts.
They either scored or had a turn. That's crazy. Overtime game. All right. Let's see. Bills were the number 3 red zone offense. Broncos number 1 red zone defense. Broncos number 1 overall defense. A lot of people consider them to have the best offensive line. Man, Bo Nix being out, just I don't know how else to put it. This isn't great English for a man who speaks publicly for a living, but that just plain sucks. Broncos get the win. Let's go. The smattering. You know, we could have had a college football playoff national championship on Saturday. Instead, we got the smattering of Seattle and the 49ers. Do you even want to talk about that game?
Yeah, there's not much to talk about within it.
Yeah, let's move on. All right. Texans, Patriots. Patriots are 85-1 when leading by 8+ points in the fourth quarter over the last decade. You know that?
That's a crazy.
That is a crazy stat. They end up getting the win. Texans played hard. D'Amico Ryans, former NFL linebacker. Mike Vrabel, former NFL linebacker, played for the Patriots. You know, he had 4 winning seasons before the Titans fired him. How crazy is that?
I always was wondering about that firing.
So former players can work out good as coaches. D'Amico played for the Texans. He did, didn't he?
I think so, yeah.
So guys coaching at places they played, it can work out. I'm just a Mike Vrabel guy. He's just a football dude. Like he's got blood going down his face and everything when he was playing, when he's coaching at times. All right, Patriots end up pulling away. They're going to the AFC Championship game. They're going to play the Broncos. The Seahawks, what a game last night because they're going to end up playing the Rams. Was it in the negatives?
Yeah, we got some snow games yesterday, yeah.
Dude, another overtime game. What a classic. Caleb Williams, I feel for him. He's improved a lot. He's come a long way since his rookie season through 3 interceptions. In overtime, the Rams end up kicking the game-winning field goal. Matthew Stafford, 97 years into his NFL career, actually 17. He's been to 2 Super Bowls since he left Detroit. Can he make his 3rd? What are your thoughts on the NFL games? Then let's get to Indiana versus Miami.
Yeah, certainly. Obviously, I mean, I'm becoming more and more of a Caleb Williams fan. How can you not after this playoff run? So that was fun. Obviously, came up a little bit short. Like you said, Stafford. We'll see. I mean, if you get another Super Bowl, that kind of puts him into a different stratosphere category as we kind of look at him in the back part of his career. So it's been incredible run so far in the playoffs, and we got more to go. Let's move on to college football.
Patriots, Broncos, AFC Championship game. Seahawks, Rams. Seahawks basically just playing everyone in the NFC West in a rematch in the playoffs. All right, Indiana, Miami. The spread is 7.5 for Indiana. It's going to be a home game for Miami. They're going to have all sorts of alums on the sideline. Michael Irvin's going to have a whole posse going nuts with him on the sideline. It's going to be an insane atmosphere. The largest living alumni base in America is Indiana. They're going to travel like crazy. It's going to be an insane atmosphere. I don't want to hear about this cheating crap. Like Kurt Signetti is doing everything within the rules, and he outsmarted everybody. As much as that sucks to say, he did. Indiana's really, really good. Miami, the way they play, run the ball, stop the run, physical. It's not your old school, just big play here, big play there, Miami. If Miami wins by 7, that's a blowout. If they lose by 10, that's a blowout, just the way they play. I'm going to take Indiana by 10. I think it's going to be a great game, or Indiana's going to curb stomp them. I don't see Miami blowing out Indiana. Give me the Hoosiers with the points. It's going to be an electric atmosphere tonight. Indiana is just too good with grown men. What do you got?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Indiana ultimately wins this one. I like the breakdown there of Miami. Going to be interesting to see two teams that do rely on the front lines quite a bit. The one thing about Miami, that Ole Miss game that's kind of shaking me is they dropped like 4 picks. I don't think that Indiana is going to, Mendoza doesn't have like 4 incompletions throughout the playoff run, it feels like. So they got to capitalize on every opportunity they get.
He has 8 touchdown passes, 5 incompletions. Miami has 4 dropped interceptions. All right, go Big Red Nose. Remember, throw them bones.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet.